Today I'm here at Kim's Pianos in Stanton, California, and this is honestly one of my favorite piano stores in the entire United States to come visit. The people here who work here are awesome. They have a really cool selection of pianos, and today I'm going to be having a video that is a little bit different from what I usually do. One of the people who works here at this Stanton location, as well as other Kim's piano locations as well, his name is Steve Rivera. He actually came to me with an interesting story. He has a client who is actually in Florida, and of course this store is in California, so that's a very long ways away. This client who is in Florida is interested in this piano. He saw my video online and was interested in it. He likes the tone of it, but he wants to know a little bit more about the action of the piano and what it's like, because I guess I didn't talk too much about that in the video. I do tend to talk more about the tone rather than the action of the pianos in my video, but this person wants to know a bit more about the feel of the action and what it's like to play this piano. Now, I love the way this piano sounds, I love the way that this piano looks, and I also love the way that the action plays. So, Cristoff, this video is for you. I'm going to play a couple of selections just to remind you how awesome this piano sounds, and then I will also tell you a bit more in detail than I did last time about what the action feels like. So I hope you enjoy Cristoff, and I hope all of you others who are out there who are simply browsing this video, I hope that you enjoy it as well. If this piano looks familiar, I have actually covered it twice before on my channel. I did a review of it once before, and I also did a comparison with it versus a Steinway, a very lovely piano that is sitting right here. So without any further ado, let me play a couple of pieces on it, and then I will talk to you about what the action feels like. As you can hear, this piano has a wonderful, wonderful sound. It has that traditional, clear, transparent sound that Bosendorfers are very well known for having, and it really is a wonderful sounding piano. In my opinion, it sounds as good as it looks. It looks absolutely beautiful, and I think it sounds absolutely beautiful as well. But again, the focus of today's video is going to be the action of this piano. Now, when it comes to actions of pianos, the way I like to think of it is actions in pianos kind of come on a spectrum. At the one end of the spectrum, you have the heavy actions, the actions that when you push on them, they don't want to go down, they're very heavy, and they're very hard to play. That's the one end of the spectrum. On the complete opposite end of that spectrum, you have pianos that have a light action, where you just gently push the notes down, and they go down, and they play the piano. Then those are light actions, ones that are really, really easy to play. So that is a light action. So on one end you have light, and on one end you have heavy. And then of course there's a wide spectrum in between. You can have a piano that has an overall light action, but sometimes for some music it might have a bit of a heavy edge to it. You can have a piano, an action that's a little bit heavier, but for some music it feels almost light. And depending on the piano, every piano is going to be having a different action, and so every piano is going to feel slightly different. A term that I like to use to describe a piano's action when it's on the heavier side but still is very controllable is I call that substantial, and that is where I would call this piano. Most pianos honestly fall into that category of substantial. If you watch many of my videos, you'll probably hear me describe most every piano I play on as being substantial. The way I would describe a substantial action is one where when you go to play it, it's a little bit on the heavy side as compared to a piano that has a light action, but still it can do everything you want it to do. The secret to a piano action for me, my favorite type of piano action, is not one that is super, super light where you put a feather on the key and it plays the note. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but some pianos do have an extremely light touch. That honestly is not my favorite piano action. My favorite piano action is something more like this, where it's a little bit substantial, it has a very predictable feel, and yet even though it has a bit of a heavier touch than some other pianos, you're still able to play everything you could possibly want to play on it. Whether that's fast and loud or soft and quiet, it can handle it all. The thing for me with a piano that has a super light action is sometimes for me it can be hard to play really, really quiet, the super, super pianissimo notes. With a piano that has a super, super light action, I find it difficult to predict when that key is gonna make contact with the string, when the key is going to hit the key bed and when the hammer is going to strike the string. With a piano with a super light action, sometimes it can be hard for me to really feel like I have a massive amount of control. The same can be said for a piano with an action that's too heavy, but that substantial range, the range where this piano lies in, it has a wonderful controlled feeling, and I don't ever feel like it's not going to be playing the note that I want it to. If you're used to a piano that has a very light action and you go to a piano that has an action like this where it's a bit more substantial, it may feel heavy at first, and if you run across a piano that you like overall but it feels like it might have a bit of a heavy action, just spend some time playing on it. Spend 10-15 minutes playing on the piano, and oftentimes you will get adjusted to the way the piano feels. Let me play another little quick selection here to remind myself of what the action feels like, and then I might talk about it a little bit more. So I think that everything I've said so far in the video still holds true. I wanted to remind myself of what this piano feels like and make sure that I wasn't saying anything that I didn't feel is true. And I think everything I've said so far in the video definitely pertains to this piano. It has that predictable, substantial feel that I personally prefer. When it comes to a piano that is going to be used as a practice piano, well, I don't know what the purpose of this piano is going to be, if it's going to be a recording piano or a practice piano or a piano that's going to simply look beautiful and mostly spend time sitting as furniture. I don't know what the purpose of this piano is going to be, but I think it would do great as all of those. It has a really nice sound that would be optimal for recording. It has a very clean, pure sound. It looks gorgeous, so if it works with the decor in your home, it would look beautiful as well. And also, if you wanted to practice on it, it has that nice substantial action that I, again, prefer for practicing. The advantage of practicing on a piano that has a substantial or on the heavier side action is that when you go to a piano that has a lighter action, it's very easy to play all of the music that you want to play on it. If you're practice on a piano that has a light action, a very, very light action, and then you go to a piano perhaps like this that has an action that's a little bit heavier, there is going to be a larger learning curve, a larger adjustment time. That's what I personally find, to get used to the way this piano feels. The way I think of it is it's easy to go from being used to a piano with a heavy action to playing one with a light action, It's easier to do that than it is to be used to a piano with a light action and play on one that has a heavier, more substantial feel. That's just my personal preference. Maybe others feel differently. But there are a lot of people who feel that practicing on a piano that has a more substantial action is good for the fingers. It's good for being a well-rounded pianist, because once you play on a piano with a heavy action, you can basically play on pretty much anything you want to. There is, again, that small little quirk where a piano with a very, very light action, in my opinion, can be a little bit hard to control with the pianissimo, but other than that, if you're practicing on a piano that has a heavier action and you go to a piano with a lighter action, there's not much of a learning curve there at all. So I really hope that this answered all of Cristoff's questions and concerns about this piano. I believe the reason he wanted to know more about the action was because he wants to know if it's worth his time to fly all the way out from Florida to California to see this piano for himself. Now, while I'm not Cristoff, I don't know exactly what he wants in a piano. I personally love this piano. I love the way it looks. I love the way it plays. I love the way it sounds. It's really hard to find a piano of this era that sounds, plays, and also looks as good as this one does. This one has been restored, and I believe it's from the early 1900s, maybe late 1800s. It's pretty old, and to find a piano of that age that sounds this good, as I just said, is rather hard to do. A lot of the times, there will be many things that won't be optimal. This is a really great piano with a really, really great feel. I definitely hope that everything works out. If Cristoff does come here and play this piano, he enjoys it as much as I do. I think it's a wonderful piano. I hope that you guys have found this video to be helpful, and I hope that Cristoff, if he's watching it, also found it helpful. So once again, I wanted to give a big thank you to Kim's Pianos in Stanton, California, Steve Rivera for telling me about the story and allowing me to spend basically the whole day here and film videos not only of this piano, but also of the wide selection of really high quality pianos that can be found at this store. If you're ever in the Stanton, California area, I highly recommend you drop by and even just say hi. The people who work here are really friendly, and they also have a great selection of really cool pianos to come play. This is one of my favorites here at the store. There's a number of others that I love as well, but this one is really cool. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you might want to go check out my channel if you haven't already. I've got lots of cool videos of pianos, organs, keyboards, and really anything else with a keyboard attached as well. I've done videos on a lot of other oddball things too. So if any of that sounds cool, you might want to think about subscribing, and if you do subscribe, thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.